And you know, us sports moms have something to say.
Yes, we do. We'll have a chance to interview across the board, from athletes to the parents to the coaches to even the trainers.
And we're not afraid to share our journey. We're not afraid to tell other moms what we went through in order to raise up a student athlete. So I believe that it's inspirational.
Yeah. We able to tell our story, the good and the bad.
We can give back positive information.
Absolutely.
You know, we can empower them.
Yeah, I think it's time for the mothers to be a voice.
Yeah,
That's it. It's time for us to let you know what's going on.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your girl, Shannon from Can We Talk Sports. I am here with our host,
Kawashika.
Karen. Hey, we are excited about this segment, but let's talk. We have been, no, I ain't going to say we, Karen and Irisha have been football sideline cheerleaders, interviewers. You know what I'm saying? They've been from the XFL and then rushed from the XFL over to the spring league game. I'm telling you, these two been everywhere today. So listen, Karen, tell us about the XFL.
You guys, it has been a great weekend. I just want to shout out the Dallas Renegades again for allowing us to be part of their media pass, be on the sideline. We got in trouble a little bit today because we were trying to crank up the fans, and so we were trying to interview them, and they was like, no interviewing during the game. I was like, I'm so sorry. But we were just trying to make sure that the fans are enjoying. It was packed. It was a packed house. It was great. And then we got the opportunity to go up in a suite. Shout out to attorney Avo. He invited us up into a suite. We got a chance to go up there. We met some wonderful people. Shout out to the piano dentist. I met a dentist today who has a piano, whole little setup in his dentist's office. So when you go to get your teeth cleaned, you never know. He may come out and start playing some music and get it crunked up. And so we had the opportunity to interview him. And then we met another doctor. He's a chiropractor. His brand is called, I think it's Ideal Sports, Ideal Pain and Sport Chiropractors. I'll put the right name in there. But shout out to them. We also, you guys, when we went to the spring league, we got a chance to meet the head coach of the Frisco Fighters. We got a chance to interview him. Shout out to the Frisco Fighters. Shout out to the spring league, Mr. Brian, who gave us the tickets to pass out. Man, this weekend we just been on fire.
Right, we was out at the mall. We went to the dealerships. I want to give a shout out to Wells Auto, Mr. Ben, one of their top salesmen he came to the game. And then we went to the mall. We was passing out. So I seen a couple of people that we passed out at the mall. So yeah, it was crazy. Crazy.
It's
just the beginning.
Hey, we said it
fire.
What? It's just the beginning, I'm telling you. So listen, I need to go to that dentist. You play the piano?
Right.
I'm being there grooving. You can, you know what I'm saying? Just think about that. Like, the piano's playing, they're grooving, right? It's like getting you ready because they're getting ready to pull your teeth or do something to your teeth, right? But by the time you finish listening to the groove, you like, what? I can get
Bring it on.
Right? So
shout out all weekend. That's amazing.
I know. Kawasaka, they was out there killing it today.
It was great.
Interviewing. I mean,
when we were interviewing, he was shy. He was camera shy. But when he got behind the piano, it's like it was a whole nother person.
That's how it be.
You ain't shy.
Yeah.
But, it was great. It was great, you guys.
Awesome.
I just thank God for the opportunities that he's bringing our way. He's opening so many doors. And I just thank God for this opportunity.
Yes,
Yeah.
God first.
So, Kwasika, how was your weekend?
Yes, ma'am. Saturday, the explosives. My baby girl Kiara, she had a dance competition. Lord Jesus! But no one did not tell me that lasts all day. Listen, listen. From 7, we woke up 7, then come home. I know by 10 o'clock that
Mhm.
night. And the crazy part,
Wow.
we're not dancing. But
Right.
Wow.
woo, but they did an awesome job. Shout out to the explosives.
Good.
Shout out to the royal team that presented it. All the dancers did a great, awesome job. So that was my first competition that I went to for the dance. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I seen some footage on that. They was out there killing
Yeah.
it. I was like, all right, I ain't mad at
They
you.
they
Let me get out
came.
there. Let me get out there and groove with you. Do a
I
little non-stop.
know.
Yeah,
It
they
was
did a great
awesome.
job. They did a great job. So, okay, now we got to get into this. We had an opportunity me and Karen had an opportunity to talk a little bit with our guest that we're going to bring on, Michael Scott, and man, on fire, ready to change the world one student at a time.
Right.
We're super excited about this interview. He's going to tell a little bit about himself, and he also has a son in the NBA. So, look, we've had NFL moms. Now we got an NBA dad. I'm telling you, Can We Talk Sports is killing the game. Y'all better get ready because we come in full force. I mean, it's amazing because we've had people message us and wanting to be on the show.
Yes. Yes.
I'm telling you, it's spreading like crazy. And me and Karen were talking. We actually got a young man we're going to bring on the show probably in a couple weeks who has a powerful story that had an opportunity to go to the draft, but one
Okay.
text, one phone
Mm,
call. No, it was one
wow.
text messed it up. One text he sent
Wow.
Wow.
out. And the crazy thing is, he was defending himself.
Wow.
He
So you
was
can't
he
even
was
defend yourself no
He
more.
can't even he was actually defending himself. Now, the way from my
He did.
understanding, the way it was done was wrong,
Yeah.
but he was really trying to defend himself. And then that
Wow.
one text, it messed him up
Wow.
and took him out of the draft and put him in free agent. And so we're gonna bring him on and his dad to kind of talk about it and help these young people. Look, one text, y'all, one
Yeah.
wrong text, one wrong call, one wrong move can mess up everything. So,
Yes.
but anyway,
Yes.
let's get to our guest, Mr. Michael um,
God.
Scott. I was thinking James. I just saw us. Y'all, I blanked out. Hey, Mr. Scott, how are you?
Welcome, Mr. Scott.
You're
Go
muted,
ahead.
so we can't hear you.
Take it out for mute.
You're on mute.
Okay.
Okay, so you got
Childproof.
better.
It's childproof.
Oh, it's childproof. I like that.
I know
That's a
that's
good one.
right.
That's a good one. Okay, so listen, you guys.
Welcome.
I think we just gonna
Good
let
evening.
Mr.
Good evening.
Scott go with it because I'm telling you, he was bringing it the other day
Yeah.
when we was on the phone with him. So, Mr. Scott, just listen. The show is
Uh-oh.
kind of how the floor is yours right now. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about you and PCP Network.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for allowing me to have this time on your show. It's been very interesting and very exciting just looking and learning things over the week and listening to your guests and realizing that, hey, there's somebody else out there that's in this and you're just as deep in it as I am. Um, I'm the founder and CEO of Parents Crooked Parents Network. I started the program probably about 2007. And it was so one of those strange things, one of those questions that as a dad and said, okay, hey, something needs to be done here. Uh, my son was going through the recruiting process and I was clueless. I didn't have about those sports myself in high school, but my interaction in sports and my thing with sports was at nowhere near the level I'm through now. So I talked
Wow.
to school officials, and I wanted to get on, okay, what should I do next? He wasn't receiving any interest from any schools, or it was bare a minimal. One or two schools would throw out some little flyers or send a newspaper article or something like that, and that's just junk mail to me, or just to say, hey, we know that you're there. So I asked the school official, what should I do next? And he told me that, okay, I'll put you in touch with one of the guidance counselors who specialize in this and who's been working with a lot of the kids coming from the school and get you started. I said, okay, fine, that sounds great. And my next question to him was, what about all the other parents that's on this team? Now, mind you, at the time, there was approximately 6 Division I athletes on the team. 2 of them played football, but they were still Division I athletes. They were still on the basketball team, competing, doing great things, so on and so forth. But none of them or none of their parents had this information. So we were all in the dark at the same time. And I was like, wow, this is kind of a bad situation, because if we don't know nothing, our kids may get overlooked, or be passed up just based upon lack of knowledge on our part. They're doing what they have to do in the classroom. They're doing what they have to do on the field, on the court. So why can't we do our part? So from there, the initial thought of the Parents Coach Parents Network came about. Later on that year, I had an opportunity to attend the NBA Top 100 camp. And at the camp, they had a parent program. And while at that program, they had a parent component, and they were sharing information. But I looked at that and said, okay, this is great information put out there. Great job done by the NBA Players Association. But what about all those other kids? What about those students that are not elite, are not going to be invited to the top 100 this, or the top 100 that, or the top 50 this, or the top 50 that, but still have the potential to go and play? So I started doing some research and looking at stuff on the NCAA's website. And finally, we got some interest from Temple, University of Temple up in Philadelphia. I went up there, we met with the coach up there, and I told him about the program and told him, just ask some basic questions on how do they interact with parents. And from there, he shared some information with me and then connected me to somebody in his school district, the local public school district, that they were doing citywide. And the gentleman sent me a packet of information. I took that information and ran with it. And I say that Parents Coach Parents Network. Because anytime a parent had a question or something came up, I was there to answer that question.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing. So you just took the step. You did that, you went ahead and said, I'm going to take the initiative for the parents that don't know, that's in the dark. Because like you said, a lot of parents do not know.
No.
Do not know. So
they don't even have a clue.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's the term coming out with. You don't know what you do athletic scholarship from a parent's perspective.
Right.
And that information is just to say, hey, we don't even know where to start. And nobody's telling us. And they're keeping it a secret.
No.
For what reason?
Why?
I've yet to figure that out.
Yeah. Because I think
a good question.
I was just having this conversation with my daughter. It's weird because it seemed like matter of fact, I was actually having this conversation with a young man that I mentor every Sunday, because I have a mentor program. So we do one-on-one mentoring. And he was even talking about his coach not letting him know about recruiting, like the colleges, who's interested and who's not. So it's kind of like all they care about is winning. Like right now, I'm focused on us winning. It's almost like it's kind of sad. Not all of them, but it's kind of sad. Some of them feel like I can care less if you go to college or not, and they don't want to put in all the work um, to, keep up with the recruiting and what colleges are looking at you. And I don't think that's fair to these athletes. They're giving you their time, their energy, they're fighting for you on that field or that court or wherever. At
Right.
least you can, you know what I'm saying, get them
Right.
connected to the right school, the right recruiting. And if you don't want to do it, then why don't the schools hire a recruiting person that is their specific job, is to make sure these kids are being recruited properly? That's my question.
That's a really good question. And believe it or not, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
You're good. It was a delay, so I was gonna just jump in.
But in every school, there is an individual that is NCAA certified that's supposed to help these kids. But if you don't know about them, and we as parents aren't forcing them to do their job, then they're receiving that stipend for that added duty that they're only handpicking what kids they want to be involved with. And that's sad, because we don't know to go there and ask the right questions. And oftentimes the students don't know to go to ask the right questions. If you look at the NCAA's website, the eligibility website, and you look up core courses and all that information, it shows you a list of individuals that have that responsibility.
Yes. Yeah, and it's important.
You know what I researched when my son was in school. What I researched, everything I saw on the websites and stuff like that, it said that it's not up to your coach for your athlete to be recruited. It's up to the parent. And then I interviewed a parent their son was highly recruited, and he said that it's up to the coach to sell your son, but it's up to the parent to get your son recruited, and that comes with camps, going to the different camps, sending out your profile to the colleges, getting your highlights, making that connection to the schools, and just parents educating themselves on what they should do. So it's kind of twist. And then one time I had a college coach was reaching out to me, and I had a coach saying, I don't understand how that college coach is reaching out to you. They normally come to us. So it's kind of mixed. The coaches expect the coaches to come to them, but then you read stuff that say it's up to the parents. So what are you supposed to do?
Well, look, if it's up to the parents. Well, I was going to say this. If it's up to the parents, then why not in the beginning of that season that they don't bring us all together and say, okay, hey, listen, this is the NCAA rules. Here's a packet. This is how you properly get your kid introduced to colleges. This part is your job. This part is our job. Here's the classes. Here's the core classes. This is the do's and the don'ts. They can't go on the visit until 11th grade, I think, because it's been so long for my son. So, but here's when they can go on their visits. This is how you properly send a letter to them. How come they won't sit down and give us that in the beginning of each? So if my son plays football, you should give me all that information. If my daughter plays basketball, you should give me all that information. Does that make sense?
Right. A lot of sense.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But we're not forcing their hand to do that.
Gotcha.
And I would say the responsibility does fall on us as parents, not that coach, because you got to look at it from the standpoint of a basketball team may carry about 13, at the best, 13 athletes. That's just talking about the varsity, not talking about JV and varsity. You even have a freshman team, and a varsity team where, the numbers get bigger. But a football team, you can have well over 60 to 70 athletes on that team. That's just a
Right.
down trying to the game plan for he has coming up. He'll spend half his time working on recruiting plans instead of a coaching game plan. So I say that responsibility falls on our shoulders, parents, and not particularly on the coach. Because in my case, our coach recruiting process, as I learned the recruiting process.
Oh, wow.
So how could I have, because this was only his third year coaching. He had never had a kid to go on and go to school. And if it was, then it was something that was preset prior to him coming into, that position. So as a result, in his defense, as I learned it, we continue to still conversate on and share different things that he have experienced from other coaches. But I made sure all communication came to me, and even when my son gave out phone numbers on most of the, prospect information, he put down my number.
Came to you.
I think he did that intentionally because he didn't want to talk to nobody. But he put down my number, and I was able to screen calls for him. I guess I was his secretary at that time, but all well, fine and dandy.
Wait, aren't we all to our kids? Mama, can you do this for me? Mama, can you take care of this? They'd be like, wait, what? Okay, so, but what about it's not the PTA, what is it? The organization that usually with the sports in high school, not the PTA.
The booster clubs and
so why won't the booster clubs do it then?
Well, the slippery slope if we get the booster clubs too involved in it.
Oh,
because oftentimes, if you think about just that term by itself, boosters, they're in it, their agenda. And, some of them may be alumni to whatever particular college we're not looking at, but yet and still they're trying to steer you in that direction. Well, I can get this kid over here to UC, or I can get to
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
VCU or UVA or, wherever. No, you can't. Not one of mine.
So tell us a little bit about more in depth of your program, because when we talked to you, you were going to a basketball game camp, or what was a math? What was it called? A math game?
Oh, the math hoops program.
Yes.
Math hoops.
Math hoops.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, something I actually do through after school program at my school, the school that I work at. And we put together a STEM sports club because at our school, due to cutbacks and everything else, we don't have an athletic programs. Our students have to play with other students from another school and be bussed over there just to play with them. And some other little crazy things they tell us. But anyway, so I put together a STEM sports club. The programs within the STEM sports club is a NBA math hoops. And that program is actually sponsored by an NBA team where the kids play a game of basketball on a board game. And the way you're able to advance in the game or score points is through math calculations. Just simple. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Like I keep stressing with the students that I work with, you have to be quick at it. If you get a number and hey, I got to add this up real quick because the other team is watching. You're playing against watching. If your calculations are wrong, they can call for a steal, then now you over the chance to take away, possibly get your points. So to. I took four students and their parents uh, to Philadelphia this past week. From Virginia to Philadelphia. We watched the game Monday night, and then they participated in the Math Hoops program that afternoon on Tuesday. Now, one of the big things that I was able to stress with them, I said, off the 11 men on the field or the 5 guys on the court. But we had a chance to walk through basketball operations for the Philadelphia 76ers and seeing the people that ran the marketing, people that ran the ticket sales, people that ran the social media sites, people that did the 2K game. You know, it was like hundreds and hundreds of people. And I said, these are all the people that support the 5 athletes on the field. Imagine this same group of people in a football team. These numbers will grow. So if you're interested in this, you're not that athlete that makes it there for a scholarship, or you're not that 1% that makes it there, you know, to play at this big Division I school, and you're really and truly interested in sports, there are some that you can have probably for a lot longer than you have to.
Wow. Wow. I like that. Math board games. Okay, so we're gonna take a break
Yep.
because listen, y'all, we got Big Mama, Big Mama. We haven't seen her in a couple weeks,
Right.
but yeah, we're excited because I know she got a lot to say. So, Brian, can we bring Miss Big Mama to the front? Hey, Big Mama.
Hey, Big Mama. Can you
Hey,
hear
Big
us?
Mama. I can hear. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm telling you, life is something.
We just gonna let you have the flow right now.
Oh, okay, okay. So, hello, everybody. Been having a lot going on, but I'm back and I'm trying to make sure that oh, you can't see my eyes because of my cap. Anyway, been in Los Angeles about feels like 2 weeks, a week and a half, but I'm back, and of course, I did not come back without bringing the Black Mamba with me. So forever, the Black Mamba. I have a Big Mama wants to talk about today. Deontay Wilder, man, you had us. We were ready for you. But it's okay. Get on back up next time. July 18th, same place, same time. We ready. We'll be right there with you. I want to tell Deontay, man, keep your head up. It's okay. It happened. Maybe you might not wear as many clothes next time. Make it a little lighter on yourself. The next thing Big Mama wants to talk about, mm, the combine. Happened to go out with some friends today, and I was sitting and I could see the combine happening. Didn't really watch it, but I had to take my eye off because Big Mama saw some thighs that only the Lord could have made. I said, wait a minute, I can't get involved in this. I got to get my head back right. But I tell you, shout out to all those that participated in the combine. I wish you nothing but the best. Prayerfully, whatever God has for you is for you, and that you'll be successful in your endeavors. But I wanted to bring this one specific thing because this is my last thing. Gervonta Davis. So he's a boxer and he's out of Baltimore. But maybe a couple of weeks ago, he got charged with a domestic violence charge. He had a fight with his ex, which has unfortunately become commonplace. But we still want to speak to young men and young women regarding domestic violence, that it is just not has to be a part of your life. But the one thing that disturbed Big Mama with that story was that when they found out that he did it and he spoke out about it, he said that he regretted disciplining his ex baby mama
in public. So the word disciplined disturbed me greatly. What you mean you disciplined her? What is that? What is discipline? Is this a child? What do you mean? And so just that verbiage really took me to a place of confusion for the simple fact he said he regrets disciplining her in public. And I thought to myself, if this is what you think that you did, then your problems are way deeper than what actually happened. So I just want to tell the young women, the young men out there, because it can go both ways. Just protect yourself, be true to who you are, and just always know that you show people how to treat you. So whatever you allow will continue. So I just want you to make sure you protect yourselves. But how dare he say he disciplined her? Javante, you want to call Big Mama? Call Big Mama. We'll talk about it. Because that conversation, I don't know about that. That verbiage just really took me to a different place. But my wisdom for the week to all the athletes out there, my mom would tell me this all the time. Didn't ever understand it, but I do now, of course. It's hard, but it's fair. So you think about that this week as you go into your different workout sessions, pushing yourself. Maybe you don't get the spot that you want to. Sometimes it's hard, but it's fair. So be good to you. This is Big Mama, and that's all I have for this week.
All right, Big Mama, we're glad to have you. We
All
missed
right.
you. Look at you representing all in LA. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what. All right, so we're going to continue on. That was good word of wisdom. And
Yes.
Big
we're really
Mama.
going to have to
Thank
do a
you.
segment about these
Mhm.
athletes and domestic violence.
Yeah.
We have to bring in awareness, and it's time to talk about it.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I kind of hate to hear that discipline. That's tough. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. So can we bring though Mr. Scott back, because we want to continue, because after you heard that, Mr. Scott, because of what you do in the recruiting and you're dealing with these athletes,
Mhm.
what is your thoughts about that? About the discipline situation where he said he was disciplining her?
Not just an athlete, but where it's coming from a man, period.
Yeah.
And he's talking grown up. You know, that wouldn't even be something that come out of my mouth if I'm talking about some action that I had to take with one of my kids. All my kids are current. That would not be something that I shouldn't have discipline. Huh? Really? What are you setting yourself up for? You know,
Right.
and are you really disciplining this person? You know, this person is another adult. This person is another human. You know,
Yeah.
you discipline your dog when they pee on the, you know,
Right.
Right.
even when you talk, you know, you may do some things to your kids, but are you really that term itself bothers me.
Yeah.
So I would have had, or hey, I can say something to him now if he wants to reach out to me anytime.
Right. So
Yeah.
since we're going to transfer into that kind of, let's talk NBA, because you talked about the recruiting process, and you see how things go when it comes to that. Um, Now, as your son is in the NBA, how has that journey been? What have you seen, the do's and the don'ts, that you're like, okay, I want to come back to my young people and prepare them for what I've seen in the NBA?
Well, one thing he's been able to really reach out to many kids back here in this community and do things for the kids from where he came from. And that's all due to being drafted, being on center stage as many of age. You know, I was looking at Mike last night, or I played with Mike on 2K, and all these great things that I hear all the time. It's been a huge plus, and I stress the point with him: all be able to give back, be able to share yourself those that supported you along the way. Some of the adults that I see, these guys are bombarded with so much foolishness. They have to really be cautious on who's in their circle, not just their immediate circle, but any part of their circle, any part of that group that is associated with them, hang around them. Folks come out of the woodworks just to create a relationship, and all these relationships supposed to be genuine. True. So some of the don'ts I see is, start looking at your inner circle, or just folks that you want to have around you, high school, even whether or not you're going to professional ranks or not. And one thing I told my son early on when he was in college, I said, if you get drafted, hey, great thing. That's a plus. That's an extra feather in your cap. But the biggest thing is get that. And then the second thing I want you to do, building a network of folks that you meet while you're in college. Even if you didn't get drafted, the group of folks that you met in college will probably be lifelong friends or lifelong associates, where you can one day look back and say, hey, I remember him, or we was in lab together, or we was in such or whatever lecture together. And that may be something, that may be a huge turning point. Oftentimes our kids forget to start building that network. A lot of kids get it, but many of us don't. We don't build a network of friends while we're in college. And that's the greatest opportunity ever. One of the things that he said to me early on, his freshman year, first time he came home, we driving back, I wouldn't pick them up. And so I said, well, what do you think, son? How you like it? Well, yeah, Chris Long was in my class. And I was like, okay, who's Chris Long? I didn't know who Chris Long was. Come to find out later on, Chris Long is the son of Howie Long. And Chris went on to have a great NFL career and, still things. But when he said that, I was like, okay, who's Chris? But he talked about this guy as though, he had just made a wonderful new friend or whatever. And even to this day, I believe they still keep in contact, from time to time or whatever. But that was something that I said, okay, that's a positive. He's starting to understand how to build a network, how to just understand being able to be around folks that have different experiences than he has had, and go from there. So that was some of the do's and don'ts. It's just so many other things out there that we can talk about don'ts all day long. Some of these scrupulous people that's out here that's trying to lure your children into doing various things that have no true benefit other than benefiting them. I've even seen it to the point where, you talked about the high school coach being, being one of the people involved in the recruiting process. I hesitate to say it, but I try to talk folks into stand, because I've witnessed too many situations where a coach was trying to use the labor of this young man to get a position on the coaching staff where he wanted this young man to go to school at two separate schools.
Wow.
And had it not been for that coaching staff got fired, he would have talked that young man into going to this school, and that young man had no clue whatsoever why he was even going to attend that school. And that school was far away from home, his family, and everything else. But yet, just trying to talk him into going to that school because his job on the coaching staff. He probably going to be the water boy or the manager or something, but he wanted that job.
Wow. That's wow.
I haven't heard of that. That wow, that
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's out there, it's happening. And so that's why I love this show because we want people to start coming on because a lot of that stuff is happening. It's kind of sad, that you would do that to a student athlete, but it's happening. So, my next question is mental health because Can We Talk Sports is really big on informing people about mental health. It's really important to us because it's every day, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and so we want to be able to catch it before it gets too big or bring awareness. In your process and what you're doing, have you witnessed that in even some of the younger people that deal with it maybe because they feel like maybe they're not good enough, smart enough, they didn't get to play or they got injured and it messed up their season? Have you experienced that?
Well, yes, I have, and it's really a sad situation. Um, I was, and their child went into a serious depression because he didn't feel as though he was getting reasonable playing time. So he would go to practice, he would barely perform, ended up getting, minor injury. I think he twisted his ankle or something like that. So from that point, he wasn't really having a full practice. The practice, he wouldn't socialize with the other teammates. He'll go back to his room. He'll sit in his room. Basically just became a recluse. Just basically going into a shell. And the mom reached out to him and, just to check on him to see if he was all right. And he said, yeah, I'm all right. But then they noticed that they didn't get that weekly call that they was getting. That weekly call went to bi-weekly. Then it was like one call. And at that point, they decided to take a trip up to the school and come to find out, talk to his friends because they not didn't answer. So they seen those some of the other friends that he had, that his friends or whoever, and said, yeah, we seen them at practice, but we haven't seen them since then. And they got the RA, opened up the room. He's just sitting in the room, just sitting on the bed. And that was his daily routine. And he wouldn't open the door for nobody. He's just sitting there. Wow. And so they notified the school, hey, something's wrong. They took him home for a couple. He had actually lost weight because he wasn't really eating right. And as a result, they took him home and realized, okay, we're going to get him out of this school. We're going to bring him closer to home, even if we have to let him go to a community college for a year or so just to get himself together. First, they were going to work on his mental health, make sure he gets his mind back together and get his self being focused. But yeah, that was a serious issue. And that was one of the strangest issues I've ever heard of. But, I knew that family had known them for a while. Actually, I had watched that young man grow up playing at the rec center and realized that, okay, this is very outgoing, very outspoken. He was never one to be, withdrawn. So as a result, something was wrong, and I knew that. And when I had finally got a chance to see him, I looked at him. He kind of like gave a partial smile, like, hey, coach, I'm good. I'm all right. And I said, all right, if you ever need anything, just let me know. And to this day, he's back to full health. He's back to his self and doing just fine. But it is a serious issue because of some of the depressing things, kids going too far away from home, not having a support group. I had the pleasure of being on the conference call just before I joined y'all. organization called Parents and Athletes Connection. They'll beat me up if I get it wrong. Um, but they have a program similar to what you ladies are doing and what I'm doing. But one of their components is called Boots on the Ground, where in any city that one of your children is going to school, they have them connect with a family in that city just for that support.
Wow.
And I think that's a huge plus. And again, once we start working this thing together, once we start connecting all
Wow.
those dots, oh boy, ain't gonna be a city or university in this country
Yeah.
that can touch us. I'm gonna mark that.
Yes.
Amen.
Wow. I like that. Boots on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
yeah, that is really good. You had a question, Karen? I thought you had a question.
Uh, no, I just love what is going on here.
Yeah.
And I thank God for the connection that He's making with us and making other connecting other parent groups with us to make this powerful empire to move forward. And I thank you for coming on with us. There's a lot of groups out there, and for some reason they shut you down and like you're trying to take over their followers and stuff. And I'm like, no, we need to come together. Just think how powerful we would be if parents came together. I
Right.
posed the question. I said, what if every parent, I know this is hypothetical, but what if every parent took their kid out of sports, didn't let them play sports? Do you know the whole sports world would collapse if everybody said, my kids are not playing sports, we're not doing sports no more? The whole economy probably would collapse. And then I know that's far fetched that parents would do that, but just think if we came together and mobilized, we would probably be able to get a lot of things changed in the world of sports of how things are being handled if we ever came together. So
Yeah.
I just, you know,
We have to. I mean, it's
Right.
like you said, the recruiting process is important. You think about a lot of kids that didn't get recruited because the parents didn't have the proper information. And so, parents, we got to come together. You got to go up to the schools. You have the right to ask questions. They can't deny you that. You got to ask questions. You got to do the research, because if you don't, your kid can slip through the cracks, and then that's where the depression and other things happen. So we have to figure out how to organize something to where we can join forces with the NCAA and saying, hey, listen, it's a mandatory meeting at the first of the year that we get all the information on the recruiting process, and how things need to go. And then in the middle of the year, we get an update of colleges that have maybe asked, because I've heard that there was a young man back when I lived in Tulsa, and he had letters stacked, and the coaches never gave it to him.
mm,
And even my son Jordan, when he was going, he found out he had letters, and it was so happened because we stayed involved. We stayed on top of things. And his dad said, "Go find out if you got any recruiting letters." And he went to school and he found out, and Jordan had stacks of letters. Well, at least, and it was like, what? We didn't know, at the time. So you got to ask questions. You got to stay involved.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Kwasika, what's your thought?
Yeah, I was gonna ask Mr. Scott, what you think about that? I mean, the coaches keeping the offers, the letters. Because I believe one of my sons too, when he finally brought all his offers home, it was just stacks, like it was like a big old bag. I mean, it turned
Well,
out, his situation turned out right, but I'm wondering why do they keep that information?
Right.
uh, putting it very as plain as possible, being lazy and trying to information so they can refer another child in that direction. Same thing. Matter of fact, that was one of the opportunities to work with. Ended up sending her husband to the school to talk to the coach. And I think that conversation didn't go too because Ray, the young man, the man that I'm talking about, the school is a very good sized young man. Now, Ray is probably about 6'2", but Ray is a solid about 260. Deputy sheriff, and he had to go up and meet with the coach because the coach was holding on to letters, probably about a shoebox full of letters of his kid. But see, where the problem comes in at, again, that goes back to us and comes in at, is oftentimes they'll address that letter to Coach so-and-so. Your child care Coach Smith or care of Kickertan High School, care of Booker T, instead of just addressing it to that child. See, when they put that information on these prospect forms, they put a whole lot of school information and very little personal information. That's why I told all the coaches, hey, you can call me. Use my address, send whatever correspondence, go ahead, send it to me. Send it to the house instead of send it to the school. And coach from time to time to make sure that up there at the school. But I think it should be somewhere along the line. Something needs to happen when you want to a correspondence like that.
So we have a question. Mr. Williams asks, does the issue affect white players or are we only discussing black players?
Issues of black players. Mr. Williams, I don't think this has anything to do with race, honestly. I mean, because we don't know what white players deal with at their schools. We don't know as parents. Parents don't know that. So I don't think it's a black and white thing, honestly.
What's your take on it, Mr. Scott? You see my face, right?
I think.
Good question, though, Mr. Williams.
I think Mr. Williams may have a good point. I've seen that situation. And you have to realize when we talk about a young, and I'm just going to focus on the males right now. When we talk about a young black male,
right,
who is a valuable resource in our community, so many things positive can happen if that young black male has proper guidance, proper structure, has a true sense of direction. So many positive things can happen. One incarcerated somewhere and his kids are being raised by whoever, or, all these other little things, or he goes to some college, forget where he comes from and never comes back to the community to, So what am I saying? I'm saying that for the most part, I would say that this has a greater effect on black male players than it does white male players. And I close by saying this. If you look at where the majority of the revenue is coming from, it's coming from the two primary sports that are predominantly dominated by black male players. Football and basketball.
Yeah.
And the sad part about that, basketball, which has the majority of black male players, the money that they draw in, the revenue that they draw in for the various schools, pay for scholarships for many of the other sports, like your tennis, like your golf, like your hockey, like all these other sports don't make no big revenue. Coming from football and basketball. The $300 billion industry that we call sports.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kawasi.
No.
I can say,
No, no.
mine on
You're
this,
fine.
my thing on this question is, my answer on this is when Jordan was going to school, I could see the difference. Okay, especially if the coach's son was the quarterback at the time, you could see the difference. Jordan actually, it was amazing because I tell you, God really had favor. He was really keeping us abrupt on everything. Jordan actually was the out of the school because it was predominantly a white school, a very good school. But Jordan actually was the only one to get a full ride scholarship to OU at D1. And a lot of them were shocked. Um, we struggled with the playing time because it was favoritism. But one thing about Jordan, every time he touched the field, he did his job. And keep your head out of trouble, stay focused. There'll be a team player, even if you're on the side of the bench. That's what I've always taught him. And so, with that, I believe he caught the attention of other schools because of his character. And so I seen the difference, Classica. I seen it for myself. I was like, look, this give all these boys a chance. But there was some favoritism. But I tell you what, God just character is important. It really is. When you're in a situation like that, how you handle it as a parent and how you handle it as an athlete is important because if you're one of those parents and you're going up there rolling your head and going off on the coaches, they will blackball you in 2.5 seconds. If your son is going up there and disrespectful, talking out the side of his neck, they'll blackball you in 2.5 seconds. So we were cool. I was like, don't get in the politics of things. Jordan, don't get no attitude. Just keep your head up. And he did. And with the grace of God, he got that full ride to OU. So yeah, I've seen the difference. It's kind of sad, but I've seen it. I've seen it. So
Okay.
yeah, but this was a good show because we have to bring an awareness.
Right.
We have to join these other organizations. It's not about who is this and who's that. We got to get out of that. These are about these our children. And
Right.
I just seen my nephew just did a video and a college in Texas, Concordia, closed down a university. That's the first time I've heard of a university closing down. So things are happening and we've got to get more involved. The economy's changing, life is changing. It's
Right.
time for us as parents to take the rank and get
That's
more
right.
involved in what our kids are doing and schools because I was going to ITT and I was mad. All the ITTs all over the world closed down. So schools are closing. Like things are happening. And so if schools start closing, then to get into college is going to get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And so um, we gotta get involved. We got to get involved with the local youth centers, um,
Mm-hmm.
the AAU teams. We've got to get
Mm-hmm.
involved to the best of our ability. So, Mr. Scott, do you have any final words, or can you tell people how to find you to be a part of your organization? Um, Share whatever you like to share with us. Could you hear me? I think we paused.
Mm-hmm. The pause.
Yeah. So, Karen, what is your thoughts?
Um.
He
Oh,
talking.
can you hear? Go ahead. Can you hear Mike?
Yes,
Mike?
it's pausing.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Well, first and foremost,
There you go.
There you go.
oh, okay, I appreciate that. First and foremost, thank you, lady. We had a wonderful time, and I told you that. Oh yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
yeah.
Maybe we'll keep breaking up.
Can you hear me?
We
Yeah,
can
I
hear
hear
you.
you now.
Uh-oh, what happened?
We can hear you.
We
Yeah,
can
there's
hear
like
you.
a delay.
Technology, you guys.
I know. I know.
Am I back?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Nope.
No, you.
Oh, you're
You're
there.
good
Go.
now.
You're good.
Okay, go ahead, ladies.
You must be like last week, Shannon, where you couldn't see yourself, and we were saying, "We hear you, Shannon. We hear you." And you was like, "They can't hear
They
me."
can hear me. I'm
Thank you
all on
for
here.
inviting me on. You can find me at the Parents Coach to Parents Network.
Mhm.
So
Parents Coach to
what would
Parents Network or PCP Network on Instagram and Twitter.
okay. So what we'll do is in our link, we'll
It's a
put his
delay.
information.
Yeah, it's a delay.
It's a delay. We'll put his information in our link. So Karen, go ahead. What was you going to say?
Um, I was just gonna say I appreciate Mr. Scott for coming on, all the information, and
Mhm.
um, we didn't hear whether Ms. Scott was his
Are we good?
organization nonprofit, or do people give you donations in order for you to continue on? Okay, we didn't hear. So, because we're all about
Thank
supporting
you.
each other. So, thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you. When it gets good, technology start
I
acting
know,
up on
right?
us.
Mhm.
Start tripping.
Yeah, but we'll find out if he's a nonprofit or if he's accepting donations. And if he
Mhm.
is accepting donations, remember last week our challenge was $1. If we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do $1 to
$1.
any organization who is out there that's trying to do it to educate our kids, our
Thank you,
parents,
Mr. Williams.
let's do that. Let's give them a
Yeah.
donation because we've all been out there doing fundraisers. I know I've been out there on the car wash, and I'm just like, if every car passed me, give me $1, I wouldn't have to be out there that long. Just
Mm.
$1,
Dollar.
because
Right.
we're all out there doing it for all our kids, not just my
Right.
own kid. It's for all our kids. And so I challenge every sports mom, sports
Yeah.
dad that has had to do fundraiser. We'll
Mhm.
put the link in this video, and if you could donate $1
Dollar.
to PCP for him to further his project, his organization.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
That's
like that. If
awesome.
we just everyone we had just $1. We're not asking for
Yeah.
100, just $1, just to support $1 towards a child.
Right.
Help him whether it's cleats. I like his math game that he's doing, help
Mhm.
fund that, get everything that you need for that. So I think that's good. Kwasika, what do you have?
Yeah, I think that's really awesome that he getting the parents connected to in different,
Yeah.
networks, like things that they don't know, like the recruiting, the beginning. Like you say, Shannon, you said earlier, like at the beginning, why don't the coaches involve the parents, at like having a parent meeting and put it on the table at that time. But maybe it's not meant for them to do that part, you know.
Yeah. Well, then
Maybe
we
keep
have to get
still.
started.
Yeah, so we got to get started. So that he took that leap of faith and decided to say, I will create my own. If they're not going to do it, I'm going to create my own. So that's what we need to do. It's time to create our
Our
own.
own. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
come together and
Yeah.
one school at a time, and until we
Right.
get it to it's mandatory in all the schools that you have to attend, before your child. I think it should be mandatory. I think
Right.
before your child can play a sport, you have to attend just about an hour or two a session on the
Hmm.
do's and the don'ts of the NCAA rules.
Right.
And then if your kid don't get recruited, it's not the school's fault.
Right.
because they can be like, look, we gave you all the information at the beginning of the year. We
Yeah.
told you how to get things going. So if your son or your daughter doesn't get recruited, you can't blame us as coaches.
Right.
You can't blame the school. You
I
didn't do
agree.
your part.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
you're not giving it to us and we don't know, and we're
Mhm.
thinking our coach got the, because you have coaches saying, hey, I'm gonna take care of your kid and I got
Mhm.
them and they're great. So you're thinking, okay, but like I said, with Jordan and all the children, we stay on top of it. I was already up at Jaden's school. Okay, it's her
Mhm.
math, it's her classes matching the core
Mhm.
classes for the NCAA. Same thing with
Mhm.
Christopher and Christian, and they're in 7th grade,
Yeah.
but it doesn't start
Mhm.
tonight. But I'm asking questions. Okay, well, what's this? Because every district is different, but I
Mhm.
think it should be mandatory.
Yeah.
Really do.
Now DeSoto was really good about with the kids the football tutoring. They had tutoring for them. They did break it down to the
Yeah.
parents. If they be in the is it AP classes, Miss Karen?
Hmm.
Yeah.
If they already in the AP classes, then when they pass the ACT, they won't score as high. They
Right.
wouldn't have to score as high if they was in regular classes. There you go. And so they stayed on it. So I shout out to DeSoto on that because they made sure they had tutoring.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was good, really good. I think the only issue that I had that I didn't know with my oldest son, I wish I could have did a lot for as the recruiting part as a parent, because I was one of those parents. Oh, the coaches got it, and I was told that they
Yeah.
got it. He good, and so. But when it came around to that second one, it was straight. So yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it happens, but it happens for a reason, so we can teach another parent.
Yeah.
Hey, better get it.
Well, I gotta give a
Yeah,
shout out to DeSoto
right.
because I have watched on the links. DeSoto is getting these guys out there. It's not just one or two. DeSoto's pushing 3, 4, 5. I mean, they're
Hmm.
it seemed like they're behind these guys in the
They
recruiting
are.
process.
They are.
So it's, that's a big shout out to DeSoto, even with the girls basketball team. And, because I saw the, now what school did Irisha's son go to? It's in DeSoto, right?
DeSoto. DeSoto
Okay.
High.
When you
Hmm.
guys did this signing, that's the first time I seen that many tables,
Oh yeah.
right? Because, like, at my son's, it was maybe 3 or 4, 5,
Hmm.
if that, but they had a line of tables and
Hmm.
it was all different colleges.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to DeSoto. You guys are doing a
They
great
own it.
job. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
on it. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Karen. Look at that big smile, y'all. She ready. Go ahead. Go ahead and rep DeSoto.
DeSoto, you. Well,
So
yeah. Um,
yeah, this was a great show. So listen, again, go ahead, Karen. What was you gonna say?
wait, I was telling we're launching our shirts.
Oh, wait, hold on. You
Yeah.
can't see it. Mommy's, oh, you can't see
Mom,
our shirt. Oh, she got to show
Moms
y'all.
can.
moms
Mom,
can
Amazing.
talk. Otis can
sports
sports.
too.
Good
Yes,
job.
yes.
Awesome.
So we'll
Awesome.
send a link on how to get you a shirt. Moms out there, you want to represent and wear a shirt, we would love to see it. When you get one, take a picture, send it to us,
Yeah.
and we will post it.
That's
We
it.
might have you on the show to talk.
Right.
So look, moms can talk sports too. That's what it's about. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Periscope, right?
Right.
And if you
Right.
want to be a guest on the show, email us at canwetalksports@gmail.com and we will get you on the show. So listen, this has been a great show. If you haven't learned it, listen, I want you to take this away.
All
Parents.
right, James Scott. I'm sorry, Shannon.
Oh, hey, Mr. Scott. Listen, mixed gender is killing the game. I got to go to a game.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
we want to be there. Media
I
passes, Mr. Scott.
I know we have a
Yes.
Dallas team, okay, but Monique I might be going to Houston because that's my girl right there. She real about it.
She
And
is.
so
She is.
she ain't gonna play with her players, right?
Hmm.
So Monique, this your girl Shannon. I'm telling you, I might have to come watch your team because
This your girl Kawashka. You never met me, but you gonna meet me.
right, we might have to come watch your team. Corsica, I think we going to Houston because I'm gonna be like Team Monique, right? Dallas, I love
Right.
you. I'm serious. I do love you,
Mr. Williams.
but
Hold on, Mr. Williams. You he said,
what?
what about the dance too?
What?
Come
Yeah.
on.
We like y'all.
Oh,
Come on,
okay. So
dance.
we need to get a shirt.
Oh, dads can talk sports too. Oh
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
okay, we can get a shirt. Dads can talk sports too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but
yeah.
anyway, but yeah, give a shout out to the mixed gender basketball. They are. I'm excited.
Dads already talk sports.
Right.
That's Brian
Right.
there.
Yeah, you guys already do. So let us moms have a few minutes so we can, But anyway, thanks for joining. We are excited. Excited to have Big Mama back. You guys,
Yes.
it's only getting ready to get bigger and better. And I mean, we about to be moving. We
Come
have
on.
I'm super excited because we're supposed to go on location next weekend. My husband is running in the Senior Olympics.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah.
So we might even go, we might cover that next weekend.
Yes.
So yeah.
All
So we're gonna
right.
go out there
It'll
and
be
represent
awesome.
with the seniors, interview
That's
them.
right.
Hey, they
The
still young and
OGs.
vibrant.
Come on.
Come on, they the real OGs. You better
The
say that.
real
They
OGs.
they don't listen. I seen a video of last year's Olympics in Mexico. Them
Hmm.
jokers was running,
Wow.
right? But don't play. And then they had a lady, she was 102, and mama
Wow.
was moving.
Oh wow.
Mama was trucking. Don't even play. But yeah, it starts at 50 and it goes all the way up to 100. And I'll tell you what, they for real about it. So Can We Talk Sports will be there next weekend.
All right.
Yeah, so all right. Well, you guys have a great week. And this is your girl Shannon.
I'm
Your girl.
Karen.
Yes, your girl Kawashika.
And Big Mama, baby.
And this is Can We Talk Sports? We talk to you
Sports.
guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.